In Kenya, as everyone goes about their daily hustle, a quiet revolution is taking place. Women are stepping into opportunities once deemed unreachable, transforming not just their lives, but the nation's economic landscape. UN Women, in partnership with the government of the United Arab Emirates, under the UAE UN Women Strategic Partnership Framework, launched a project focusing on accelerating women's economic empowerment in Africa and Latin America, a $15 million initiative aimed at advancing women's economic empowerment through gender-responsive procurement.
Gender-responsive procurement is a selection of services and goods that take into account the impact on gender and women economic empowerment by sourcing from women.
When the legal framework governing public procurement, that is the Public Procurement Asset Disposal Act, was enacted, there are clear provisions that has provided an affirmative program to support women in public procurement. The law requires that at least a minimum of 30% of a procurement budget of each procuring entity is made available to the affirmative group.
This project builds on existing frameworks like access to government procurement opportunities, the equitable program, and the women's empowerment principles, aiming to transform procurement from a policy into a practice that delivers measurable impact.
UN Women is very intentional in implementing gender-responsive procurement, and some of the strategic steps that we have taken is that we intentionally go out and seek out these women-owned businesses that can benefit from the opportunities that exist.
We have been in a position as UN Women to register women vendors in the platform. And we're already seeing UN agencies placing orders from these women-led organizations, entrepreneurs, for them to supply in the different goods and services.
Since its inception in 2013 up to 2024 June, government has awarded contracts of about 135,000 contracts to women across the country. The value of this contract actually is estimated at 148 billion shillings.
The very first institution that I endowed with was Machakos School for the Blind. They advertised their tenders. I went to the institution, collected the tender document, filled the tender document, attached my AGPO certificate, and without any hassle, they responded, they called me, and then they issued me with an LPO, and then our contract started.
The private sector is also stepping up. Companies like Bamburi Cement are integrating gender-responsive procurement into their supply chains, ensuring women-owned businesses have a fair shot at procurement opportunities.
Most people are now becoming entrepreneurs. Most people want to supply. There's the business side and there's the supply side, yeah? So we are addressing the business side in terms of, are we employing women? Are we paying women as we pay men? So I feel like the next step for us is, are we also having female suppliers and male suppliers equally represented?
There are quite a number of measures that the National Treasury has undertaken to ensure that this access to government procurement opportunities is strengthened. One among them, and which is very key, is training and capacity building. The law has provided that in cases where a tender is reserved for women, instead of going further to ask them to submit a bid security, there is something that they need to just sign. That is what we call the tender securing declaration form, where they undertake to perform the contract upon being awarded.
A lot of them do not have access to finance. So what did we do? We partnered with our banks to give them invoice discounting at a very small rate. Next, we also moved the payment terms from 60 to 90 days to 30 days. Next, we also waived our requirement to have 3-year financial statements. Yeah. Now we only use 1-year financial statements or 2-year financial statements for women-owned businesses.
By integrating women into procurement processes, the nation taps into a vast reservoir of talent and innovation, fostering inclusive growth.
There is a need to invest in gender-responsive procurement. One, because you are targeting the women entrepreneurs, These are majorly left out in all the supply chain. But if we make that intentional decision to invest in them, then it will cause a multiplier effect in terms of the social development, the economic development, not only at a national level, but right from the household level. And we'll see more children going to school, we'll see access to health facilities, we'll see them owning productive assets, and also accessing some of the financial services that they require.